you need to show that you're financially able to support yourself. So you have to provide a financial statement, maybe a bank statement, indicating that you are able to support yourself here. So it's very, very expensive, and you're being a foreigner, you're gonna be asked to pay a little bit higher tuition because. So the good part is that after I was through with my training, I got my degree, got my license.
You went back to school. Now it was time to convert to a green card. And in this case, you're supposed to provide evidence that your stay in the USA is of benefit to the country. Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. We are glad that you are watching. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing our videos. And if you are a returning subscriber, please comment down below, like, and share our videos. Today, we are glad to share with you a topic about immigration in the US. And we're going to talk about how to convert from an F1 student visa to a green card. So I'm going to be interviewing my wife, and she's going to take us through her journey in moving from F1 visa to green card. Welcome.
Hi everyone.
So with me here is my beautiful wife. We have been married for quite some time, for 17 years to be specific. And she's going to be sharing with you her journey to becoming a nurse in the US, because she came as a student and now she's a nurse. So I'll be asking her a few questions, and I believe that by sharing our story, we shall be able to inform, educate, and encourage somebody. So welcome.
Thank you.
So can you tell us briefly, how did you end up in the USA?
Thank you for the question. First of all, before I came to US, as I shared in the other video, I was a high school teacher, and then I met my husband, and he happened to get a scholarship to come to US, and that's how I came here on F2 visa.
So you say that you came on F2 visa. What is F2 visa?
Okay, F2 visa is a dependent visa. Because my husband qualified for the scholarship, he was given an F1 visa, which is a visa that enabled him to go to school and study. So since I was his wife, depending on him, he had to find or apply for F2 visa, which is the dependent visa. So that's the visa I came with here in US.
So did that F2 visa enable you to go to school?
Actually, F2 visa, as I've just said, is dependent. You're depending on your spouse or whoever brought you here. So F2 visa, you are not allowed to work. You cannot even go to school with the F2 visa.
So how did you end up with F1 visa and in school?
From F2 visa, I had to convert to F1 visa. So what this meant is that I had to get paperwork that's required for conversion from F2 to F1, and it involved a lot of money that you needed to pay, of which we paid to enable the conversion to take place in the immigration office. So I got F1 visa, and then I went to school.
So for them to convert your visa from F2 to F1, were you required to show some financial documents?
Yes, there are rules there. You can't just change from F2 to F1 without fulfilling the requirements of the immigration. One, you need to show that you're financially able to support yourself. You can pay your school fees, you can support yourself take care of yourself and your family. So you have to provide a financial statement, could be a bank statement, indicating that you are able to support yourself here.
So briefly, just let us know about how much roughly were you required to show that you have in your bank account to help them to convert the status?
Actually, that time I was required to show close to over 20,000
US dollars.
US dollars.
So that was,
And that is really very, very high.
so was that just your money or the money you had in an account, or you also the money, the family money, like you have some sponsors or somebody?
So we are supposed to show a bank statement. So what we did, we didn't have that money on our account because it was much than we had. So we talked to one of the friends here, and she managed to give us her bank statement, of which we used to convince the migration service that we can be able to take care of ourselves.
Can you briefly walk us through your experience in a nursing school?
After converting the visa from F2 to F1, now you get admission, because I had already applied to go into the school already. So I just wanted to get the legal papers to enable me to start the school. So I got admission, get my paperwork through, and it was expensive, but I managed to go through, and I had to apply for a lot of scholarships, of which I was lucky enough to get, and I was able to sail through, because internationals, we don't qualify for student loans, because I don't know how they look at the foreigners, but we don't qualify for student loans. So the only way out I had to go through this education was to apply for a scholarship, and lucky enough also my husband was studying his PhD in the neighboring university. So I received what we call student waiver tuition. What that means is that I was able, or I was given the opportunity to pay school fees like US citizen.
That's you're given an in-state.
The in-state tuition, yeah, it's called in-state tuition, yes.
Okay. So, how will you advise somebody who is moving from Kenya to or from another country to USA to study? How will you advise them to go about?
First of all, before you come here, you have to have a visa. You have to have a visa, and if you're coming to study, as we did, we applied for F1 visa, and before you get a visa, you have to apply for a college you want to go to, because you have to have a reason why you're leaving your country to another country. So you have to apply, get acceptance letter, and then you start the visa process.
So, how will you advise a parent in terms of financial ability in bringing a student from Kenya or from another country to the USA?
So if you are bringing your child here, or your child is aspiring to come here, you have to be financially ready for this. It's not an easy thing to handle if you're not financially stable, because there is tickets involved in flying, the amount of money that you're gonna pay, flight ticket, I mean, you have upkeep, you have processing of all those papers, and you have also going to paying tuition and fees for the college or school where your child is going. So it's very, very expensive, and you're being a foreigner, you're gonna be asked to pay a little bit higher tuition, because you don't have any benefit to get the tuition waiver here.
So in short, you are saying that for you to bring the child to USA, you must have enough financial muscle or financial backing for your child to survive here, both in terms of upkeep and in terms of raising the required school fees.
Of course, because how are you going to survive here? Here is money. If you want to survive, pay pay your bills, pay your rent, pay school fees, this money. Unless you get a full-blown scholarship, you have to dig deeper in your pocket. So if you are ready, I encourage you to go for it. If you're not ready, it's something you need to think about it before you make a step.
Okay, what happened after I finished your nursing course?
So the good part is that after I was through with my training, I got my degree, got my license, and I applied for what we call OPT. It's called optional training, optional practical training, optional practical training. So for the diploma, they will give you 1 year, so you go practice your skill outside, and then after 1 year, you are required either you go back home in your country or you go back to school. For my case, I had to go back to school because my husband was still here doing his PhD. So I had to go back to school and start working on my bachelor's. Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay, then after you went back to school, now it was time to convert to a green card. So let us now talk about converting from F1 student to green card.
Yeah, as I was still doing my bachelor's, so we got an opportunity to be able to convert from student visa, which is both of us were on F1 visa, so we were both students. So we were able to convert from F1 to green card, and before we got a green card, we had to apply for what we call work permit. Because after I graduated with my bachelor's, I had to go and do some work or be able to work because I had a permit to do work here. I still wait for the green card process to complete.
So the difference between an F1 visa and green card is that an F1 visa is a student visa, and its purpose is to enable you to study in school and to be able to work. But working, you only work inside the university. But a green card has got more benefits because it allows you to work in a wider area, even outside the university, and it has got a longer duration. Like it can help. It makes you it can stay on green card for 10 years without any problem.
Yeah, it's renewable after 10 years. You can renew it if you wish.
That's why most students who come here on F1, after finishing their courses, they end up changing to green card. So we're going to walk you through our experience in converting our F1 visa into a green card. So a green card is also called a permanent resident card. So you are issued that one to enable you to work permanently for any employer in the US. So there are several ways of getting green card. We have employment-based green card, and that's the one that we used. So for this one, first of all, you have to secure a job, an employment. And there are 3 categories of employment-based green cards. We have EB1, EB2, EB3. So EB1 is normally reserved for extraordinary professors or people with extraordinary skills. And EB2 is reserved for people with high academic training. And EB3 is reserved for skilled manpower. So for EB1 and EB2, you can petition. You can do your what's called self-petition. That is, you apply yourself. But for EB3, you have to find an employer who is willing to petition or apply for you.
Sure, yeah. So and that's what we did because you had PhD, so you qualified for EB2.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because I had a PhD, I used the EB2 route. And EB2 is also called National Interest Waiver. So that means that you don't need to have an employer to file for your petition. So let's go back to EB3. So if you are not a PhD, or a master's holder, the only route you have to use is EB3. And for EB3, you have to get an employer who is going to offer you a job. So first of all, the employer has to advertise the job to everyone for some time. That is called a labor certification. So the employer has to show that there is no qualified person to take up that job in the USA. So once that is certified, then the employer petitions for you a green card. He files for you what is called an I-140. And as the I-140 is still pending, you are given what is called an Employment Authorization Document, or EAD. So you can work with that document as you wait for your I-140 to be approved. So once the I-140 is approved, then the employer files for you what is called your adjustment of status from your visa to green card. Because first of all, you must be on a visa to get to a green card. So let's come to EB2. For EB2, it is much simpler because you don't need to have any employer to file for you. You can just file, you can do your what's called self-petition. You file your I-140. And in this case, you're supposed to provide evidence that your stay in the USA is of benefit to the country. So you can say that I have a PhD, I'm learned, I have published several papers in my field, I've done research in my field.
I think even masters, they can use that, right?
Even masters. So once they show that you are such a skilled and important person and resourceful, then you can petition yourself and the US will look at it and then they give you what is called national interest waiver. That means that they are waiving the labor certification process and offering you a straight green card. So as immediately you file that petition, after a few days or a few weeks, they give you your employment authorization document to work as you wait for your I-140 to be approved. So once they approve your I-140, then they grant you what is called an adjustment of status. Adjustment of status from your visa, because you must be on a visa to be here, first of all, your visa to a green card. So then you'll have your green card. So you can now work for any employer you want, for any period of time you want. But if you are an extraordinary professor, you use your EB1 route. And EB1 route is much simpler because you just petition and say that I have these skills, I have this education.
Because you don't have so many people in that level, because it's really an upper level.
It's an upper level, people are few at that level. So if you are willing to come to the USA, my advice is that you better come at a higher skill level. It will be easier for you to navigate the process. But if you come at a lower skill level, that is if you are coming using the employment-based visa. If you come at a lower skill level, it will be a bit difficult for you to navigate your way about.
Yeah, because it's usually very competitive, and so many people are applying for it, and the backlog is like the waiting list is very long. So some people, it depends on the country of origin. Some people, like from Asian, they really take so long before they can get a chance to hold their green card in their hands. It takes a long time.
Yes, so that's the route we used. And we want to thank you very much for watching our video. So thank you very much for watching our video and our experience. If you have any questions, please feel free to write to us. Feel free to comment down below. Feel free to subscribe to our video, to our YouTube channel.
And we will be also bringing you more, because we just talked about F1 visa converting to green card. we have other ways you can get a green card. So we're going to be talking about other ways in the coming video. So stay tuned. Remember to subscribe, remember to share, leave a comment, ask question, and thank you so much for watching.